from there. Hello, hello, hello. We're going live and
Hello.
all of the things. Welcome to another amazing conversation. Continuing our chats this week about Mental Health Awareness Week and movement, because that's the theme. So I am speaking to so many beautiful movement practitioners that I know, some who I have met in person, which we'll talk about with Anna, and others that I only know online. But I'm really excited and have been all week to introduce you guys to Anna, because she's epic. So, drum roll, no pressure, Anna. Would you like to introduce your lovely self and tell people watching who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. It's really fun to come and have a chat with you. I'm Anna. I am a Pilates instructor and I'm the head of Pilates and Reformer at Block, which is a bespoke or a little boutique gym. We've got a couple of sites in London and one in Manchester as well. And I'm also a breathwork facilitator. So as Christina knows, we've been really incorporating breathwork into our life for the last couple of years. And I'm also an actor. And it may not sound like those paths cross, but they really, really do in terms of movement and breath work and voice work. They all have lovely interconnecting elements. So that's me.
I know, I love it, Anna. And I know I've been saying to you, even before we gone on live, that your voice just ultimately, instantly calms me. Your tone, it's just like, and so you just did it again. I just kind of was all relaxed. I went, "What we're doing? Oh yes, we're having a chat." But no, we met on a breathwork certification over in Greece in Ikaria, and we for the love of the breath, right? And I know, obviously, as a Pilates instructor, obviously breath is a key part of that movement. For anyone who doesn't maybe know much about Pilates, if we could maybe start there, how you got into it and your take on Pilates, and I guess a bit of a doorway introduction for people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Pilates for me has just supported my body what feels like my whole life. So I was introduced to Pilates when I was about 17 and I was interested in doing dance. So I was doing a professional dance training. So that's also another little element there, that I've used movement in my life so much. And when I was dancing, I found this thing called Pilates, and it was this incredible system of exercises that gave me so much more strength, control, flexibility in my body, and supported the disciplines that I was training in. So Pilates is an incredible tool to either as a system in itself to help with posture rehabilitation. I know a lot of physios and osteos use Pilates, and it's adapted over the years as well. And so there are lovely modifications to make it super accessible to all body types. You can do Pilates lying down, you can do it sitting in a chair, you can do it standing up, you could do it pretty much anywhere. You don't need a hell of a lot of space for it either. So the principles of Pilates are concentration and centering and controlling the movement. It's also connected to breath and the precision of each movement and flow. So you're looking to combine all of these beautiful qualities and create a system that's a whole body workout, if we call it that, a whole body workout that helps build and balance your musculature and helps support your frame. And so you build more full body strength and flexibility and mobility. So it's really cool. It's really,
And it's just really cool.
It's really cool. And it really works as a tool for different disciplines. So for instance, if you're training in something like dance or a sport, or you'll see footballers are starting to do Pilates, or, you know, if you're working on your golf swing, you know, you're working mobility of your spine and twisting movements and opening and mobilizing the shoulders. So there's lots of exercises to tailor to whatever discipline you're doing. And if you're not doing any sports, it's to help you revive your body from sitting at a desk, for instance, or, you know, if you've got back or neck pain, or there's lots of things that we can do with Pilates, which is just really, really magic. That's really magic.
Because I know in some of the Pilates classes I've been to in the past, it always wows me, and hence why it inspired me to kind of say, like, little movements, big impact, because some of the movements involve actually probably smaller muscles that you wouldn't normally kind of recruit. So it's kind of all about that building, isn't it? And that strengthening from the inside out.
Yeah, that's it. And a lot of people end up saying, oh, it's the little muscles in between the big ones. So I've heard people say that quite a lot. So we find that sometimes we rely so much on the dominant muscles that working in a proper posture, for instance, so say whatever you're doing, you might apply these Pilates principles to different forms of exercise. So first and foremost, you're really working on a beautiful, sort of strong, supportive posture. So when we work, for instance, in something called neutral spine, you're strengthening the natural curves of your spine. And those natural curves of your spine, they're there to support your back, to support your body from impact when you run around or jump about. So having strength in different positions, including that natural curve, for instance, at the base of your spine, that's going to be really beneficial for your posture, being able to hold that natural curve while you're sitting up or standing. So yeah, it's sometimes really is the smaller parts of the movement that can be really powerful and create, that really have a beneficial impact on your body.
It's what's coming up for me, and it's beautiful as well, because all of the conversations I've had this week, there's threads of themes that just keep coming up across disciplines, which I absolutely love. And it is about, you know, one of them that you made me think of there is this foundational strength, because I think a lot of the time people like leap into things, and you know, that's where they get injured, or even if they're sitting in a certain way. I mean, just when you were talking there, I was just kind of like, oh yes, open. Strength, lengthen the spine, because you do naturally round, don't you? And I think for all of us, right, a lot of us are sat at desks, and we're not designed to do that. That's just how we've obviously evolved in our workplaces. And so it's really important to take that time to kind of build our foundational core muscles, so that when we do move, then we're less likely to get injured, right?
That's it. Yeah. So there is a lot of emphasis on the core, and Joseph Pilates, the founder, would have talked about the powerhouse. And so that's not just core, it's connected to back, it's connected to pelvic floor and the glutes as well. So that whole area, and if you think about your trunk being really strong and supporting, so that you can move with control and ease with the rest of your body, with your limbs. And you just mentioned how little we move, or how we're not really supposed to be at desks, or the evolution of the way we use our bodies has been like super quick, from moving about and running and climbing and lifting. I often ask my clients, how often do you reach your hand over your head? Like, how often do you go above this space? We're often so connected to this small space here. And sometimes it's super simple. It's like, you've got neck pain, you've got this pain in the traps. Well, how much do we get circulation into that area? Can you just lift your hands over your head 10 times and see what that does? And, even sitting up and moving and breathing and making sure that we're we're thinking, you know, like we get sleepy, we get tired, you know, because we're so static, and we're breathing so in such a shallow way, and we're having this. We talked about this before we came online, about I've been to a breathwork retreat with James Nestor, and I hear there's a coined expression, email apnea, which is, you know, similar to sleep apnea, which is where you wake yourself up because your airways are blocked and you stop breathing and have to wake yourself up and breathe again. Yeah. And so we find that actually with all of the many tasks that we're doing, we're holding our breath unconsciously, and then, oh my goodness, yeah, I need to breathe again, actually. You know, so conscious movement, conscious breath work, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I just love the way that you described that. And it's funny you mentioned about email apnea, because I'm going to bring a new one. With all of the lives I've been doing this week, I'm learning some new software, and I kept noticing that I was holding my breath. It was like, and I'm like, breathe, like, you know, invite some breath back into your system. And it's what then message that is sending to your whole system. That's why all of this is interlinked. And I think it's true. It's funny, I did a workshop yesterday with some people in NatWest, all from all different departments, from, you know, people in the banks themselves to people who probably live and work in the head office. But, you know, I was taking them through just some very simple breath work. And it is, when you come into any space where there's lots of people, it was interesting talking to people of their different you know, ways in which they approached. You know, we talked to some people about their neurodivergence. So there was people who were, you know, saying, well, I'm autistic, so big groups of people, you know, lock me up because I just want to flee and retreat. Other people that maybe get a little bit hyper focused. So it's all of these things that I think we take for granted. And to your point, the breath and how we enter into spaces has a huge impact in then the stories we tell ourselves, how we feel, and then obviously how we connect with other people. It actually all comes back down to the most simple things. So this is definitely something that I want to talk to you about with the breathwork for you, because this is obviously where our passions meet as well. For you, how do you speak to people about the breath? Because I think sometimes, you know, it even happened yesterday or the day before when I went to the event, and I was talking about breathing, and you have a lot of people look at you as if you're crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm, you know, walking and talking. Yes, I am breathing. Thank you very much. But can you speak to how you describe the breath, and certainly within the spaces of the people that you work with, to just introduce them to the concept of conscious connected breathing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can totally relate to your moments of holding breath. Like, now that I'm doing breath work more and more, I'm aware of when I hold my breath, and I'm like, oh my God, wow, I'm doing it more than I realized. And so as soon as you notice something, you know, suddenly you'll see more and more of it, you know. So with the breath work, you know, starting with the most beneficial way to breathe for us, we know it's in and out of your nose. And we know that over time, there have been lots of different elements that have affected the way that our skulls have developed, the way that our airways have developed, so that and this can affect our teeth, our mouth, the whole shape of our head. And so you'll find that a lot of mouth breathing is really common, right? So I'm trying to do everything in my daily life breathing through my nose. And you'll maybe notice, I mean, I know you know, Christina, but like, people mouth tape at night. So there are these different types of tape, not a big scary piece of tape, just a little, just a little bit, which I think is more bringing awareness. So a tiny bit of tape at the front of the lips to encourage you to breathe through your nose throughout the night. And So I'm exploring this nasal breathing in training as well. So starting to shift how I work out and exploring what it is to use that nasal breathing. And it's really hard. It's like in the beginning, it's really, really hard because you just want to and like release the CO2 out of your mouth, you know. So it's really about starting slow and just building up that CO2 tolerance as you close the mouth and breathe through the nose. So that's my own personal project, which I'm starting, being super inspired by the work of James Nestor and many other breathwork researchers and practitioners. And then this other kind of breathing, this conscious, connected, circular breathwork, which paradoxically is through the mouth. Now, you know, it's very confusing. Yeah. So the breath work, when you're having conscious moments of breathing through the mouth, there's going to be a reason for it. So the conscious connected breath work is just, it blows my mind. It has the most interesting, powerful chemical effects on your body. And it's like a direct way of dropping into your subconscious. There's like this dropping into the subconscious. You know, people go to this place that feels like an in-between state of sleeping and wake and being awake. And this is just through breath work. So again, this is like, blows my mind that just changing the way you breathe affects your body and your mental health and, you know, yes, your state of wellness. It infinitely, it's such a big change that you can create by changing your breath. So conscious connected circular breathing is a type of breath work that we do lying on the mat and breathing in and out the mouth with no pause at the top or the bottom of the breath, and you just go. So it feels like quite a fast pace. Now, this type of breath work is a way of kickstarting your parasympathetic system. So essentially, it is a less efficient way of breathing in and out your mouth. So you tire quicker. And so when you get tired, the parasympathetic system, your rest and digest system, kicks in. And then you're able to find a deeper sense of rest. You're able to rest and recover. So it is amazing. I just say try it. It's hard to explain.
It is.
In this conversation. If you haven't done it, I suggest you got to try it. And of course, there are a few contraindications. So, for instance, if you're, pregnant or if you have a history of seizures, and there's a couple of other things, you should always check if it works for you, and it works for your body. Then it's good to make sure it's the best thing for you. But it has just blown my mind every time I do it. There's something else that happens. It's a different sensation. There's a different shift. It can be very cathartic emotionally, as well as physically relaxing and decreasing stress and, softening into your body. And it's actually, it's a beautiful practice.
Yeah, no, thank you I think you described that beautifully, Anna, because I think to your point, it is something that is experiential. And so it's very difficult because it's so sensory. And I think, that's what I love about this theme when we're talking about movement. And certainly when we think of exercise, I think generally speaking, people think of, CrossFit, high, like HIIT workout, just like high intensity kind of stuff. And it's this beautiful whole gambit, this range of, this high, octane stuff, which I love too. Like I love a spin class. I love to like ramp up and like really go for it. But then on the flip side, I love a yin class. I love something, like a yoga yin, where you're just very much relaxing and softening into the body. But it's funny, this other theme that's happened this week is talking about it's a privilege to move. Like movement is a privilege. And if you are loving towards your body, and you're actually treating it as a temple, treating it as, well, I love this marvel, like that, what it allows me to experience, all of the sensations. I think breath is the beautiful entry point, isn't it, to kind of something so simple that we take for granted. And I think that's the key here. We take for granted so much of what is, I just do that. Because we love to overcomplicate. We love to kind of, it has to be more and different. And I think that's what I love about this movement of more and more breathwork practitioners coming online. James Nestor, the Oxygen Advantage is another one. Patrick McEwen, I think it is. Who started that off, and very much working in that realm of, popularizing nose breathing. I know when we did our training together, that was the confusion of like, hold on, you're saying through the nose, but now we're breathing through the mouth. What's going on? But it's for different reason. And I think, as you've just beautifully pointed out, we have range, we have options, and you use the tools accordingly for your mind and body. So I wanted to take in a slightly different direction. Like, for you personally, obviously it sounds like always love to move your body, from dance into your Pilates and then into acting. And, when I think of kind of moving in that way, and you think of communication, 70% being non-verbal, it is through the body. So I would love to kind of, I suppose, take it there of how you and what your experience has been of expressing yourself through the body.
Oh yeah, that's a beautiful question. Thanks. Oh my God, movement's so important to me. Movement is life. Movement is something that has the capacity to really change my energy within a couple of minutes. So there's something I do at the moment called ecstatic dance. Have you heard
yes,
about
it?
I do.
I'm big fan.
Yeah. So I guess movement, so through my life, movement has helped me both in work and in play and in rehabilitation. So, it must be a while ago, it must be about 12 years ago, I slipped a disc in my lower back and I was able to rehab myself back to health. And it's with a lot of sort of, I remember the surgeon and doctor I went to see, they were very clear about you not being able to dance again. No, you can't do these vigorous movements. And I have to say, it was devastating and scary, especially as I use my body in so many different ways for what I do. And so I was able to take it very seriously and start very slow and build it back up. So Pilates helped me with that, patience and breath work. But our bodies are incredible, and I'm always in awe of the ways our body can evolve and change and move and heal. It's really incredible. So this ecstatic dance thing, well, it's just the most brilliant journey. It's somewhere between a yoga class and going out clubbing in a totally sober environment in the middle of the day. So it's usually, and there's actually a bit of crossover between breath work, especially the conscious connected journey, because you have this build, you have this really intense sort of lift in energy where you really do feel like you're out, and the music and the beats are just really just bringing you up. And then there's a softening, and then quite often it ends with some kind of shavasana, or where you're lying down relaxing, or a sound bath, or something where there's a soft ending to bring the journey to a full stop or to a close. And it's so fun because there's no talking in the space, you just dance. And so you can be as weird as you like, which is really my cup of tea. So you can express yourself, you can do some contact improv if you're there and you've got a partner for it, or you're just hanging out, maybe you're just sitting down and swaying with the music or whatever it might be, but there's space for it. So that's something I'm really enjoying in terms of movement at the moment. So when I can, I'll go and do some ecstatic dance.
I love that so much. And I'm going to invite you, Anna, because there is a night up here in Newcastle. And I'm giving Lindsay Hamburg and Susan Universe, yeah, that's how she's known. They started conscious clubbing up here a few years ago. And they're actually doing it more regularly now, so it's going to be once a month, and it's actually in a church, like a church hall. But the atmosphere is just magical. So it starts off as a cacao ceremony, and then we just kind of, you know, go into it, and the music. I mean, I went to one a couple of weeks ago, and it was just absolutely epic. And what I love, we did a sound bath at the end, a gong bath at the end, and then we did a sharing circle where everybody basically just got to share their experience. And I think what I love about it, one, it's growing. Two, a lot of people talked about, oh, you know, in years gone by, people used to look at me weird for the way I danced, or people told me I couldn't dance. And what they've created is this just total safe space that's no drugs or alcohol, and you are literally getting high on your own supply.
Yes.
In fact, at one point, because I'd been actually to a well-being day the day before that day, so it was the evening. And Chris Geyser, I'm going to shout out to him. So he's an ecstatic dance DJ. At one point we were dancing and he was like, quick, get on my shoulders. I was like, what? And then before I knew it, I was on his shoulders. Now, I haven't been on someone's shoulders for a long time, and probably sober. And I was totally sober. But it was the ecstatic energy in the room was so potent. And I think, much to the example you gave there, and this is where it's totally linked to mental health, right? It's you're giving yourself complete permission to just move however your body wants to move. And I think so many, and this is where I guess my passion is, if I want to work with more corporates, not that I'm going to get them ecstatically dancing yet, might come, but to help them move and to open up. And to, you know, I was talking to somebody yesterday about, you know, if you're fixed in your body, then you're probably fixed in your mind. And that's the beautiful thing, to use the movement, right? To then open up to different ways of thinking, different ways of seeing the world. And that's why I think it's beautiful to come together as lots of different practitioners to help people on that journey to rediscover yourself at quite a primitive level. I did want to talk about, because you have a retreat coming up, don't you, in France? In October. Yeah. Please tell us all about it.
Oh, gladly. Yeah. So I'm doing a retreat with my brilliant friend Seda in France from the 1st to the 6th of October. And we'll be doing breathwork, yoga, Pilates every single day. We've got a private chef there to nourish us. We've got 2 pools and plenty of space in the countryside. So it's southwest France. So you'd fly into Toulouse, we'd pick you up, bring you to the venue, and it's 5 nights of giving yourself space and time. And it's a beautiful venue. There are little cottages on the land, and there's a couple of acres to explore. The whole place is super private. And then it's time to really just give your body that rest, that focus. And we'll do meditation, and there'll be a bit of time to obviously relax and have your own time to explore. But it's just amazing. And France at this time of the year is stunning, and you've got all of the gorgeous fruits and vegetables of the summer coming into harvest, and then these autumnal flavors coming through as well. So you've got beautiful chestnuts and pumpkins and all of the herbs of south of France. And
you're making my mouth water.
I know, I'm salivating. I know, and like cheese and just beautiful fruits. And Yeah, so we want it to be the type of retreat we'd want to go to. So there's got to be really tasty, good food, time to rest, time to explore, and then a very solid schedule of work that can really nourish your body, your mind, your spirit.
Oh, I love that. Sign me up.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, yeah. Oh, so if people want to come find you, Anna, or talk to you, you know, anyone who's watching may, well, for all the gambit of all the beautiful skills that you offer and all the passions that you have, where can people come and find you and learn more?
Well, I'm online, so you can reach me at contemporary_Pilates. Bit of a mouthful, but I know you tagged me in this chat. So you can find me online on Instagram. And then, depending where you are in the world, if it is only online, then I teach at Block, and that's just at BLOK. And that's the beautiful boutique gym that runs across 3 sites in London, 2 in Manchester, and we've got an array of different types of disciplines online, including boxing and yoga and Pilates and calisthenics and all of these beautiful disciplines. And if you're in person, well, come and see me in Hackney.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Oh, well, thank you so much, Anna, for just sharing your passion, your beautiful voice, and just all of those golden nuggets. Like I say, I definitely want to hear even more about the breath work. And for anyone watching that's curious, I hope Anna and I have inspired you to maybe try something a bit new, to maybe think about how you're breathing. And to see if you can bring more attention to breathing day to day through your nose, and then potentially, trying some breath work. I'm definitely looking to do more sessions of conscious connected breath in the Northeast to help people more experience that. So watch this space. But do have a look into so your retreat information, is that on Instagram as well, Anna?
Yeah, that's all on Instagram. And there's a bit on Instagram, and then if you're interested, you can just drop me a DM and I'll send you our little booklet which shows you more pictures and more details.
Love it. Oh, well, thank you everyone who's joined. Thank you everyone who's watched. If anyone wants to share this, we're not going to stop you. We'd love to hear your comments, any key takeaways. So wishing you all a beautiful rest of your weekend. And you just stay there for a second. I'm going to end the stream.